Transformer fans, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Autobot Topspin, the second of our records from Dark of the Moon. First we got Robuster, then Topspin, and then very shortly the third member, which here in North America and I think in a lot of other places, it will be a Target exclusive as it actually has the Target logos on it, that being Leadfoot. For the package on this guy, though, much like all the other ones, you got the Transformer text with the Generation logo, open window that fully showcases Topspin. Got a really cool image, although it kind of looks like he's more purple in some of those, but whatever. Side here, yeah, see, that kind of looks more like purple than blue. But you got that up-close image of his ugly self. Come around to the side, more pulled back of an image. He's got his base, which I'm trying to look at this one, and I can't make that out, but, you know, my eyes suck. You can see he transforms in 15 steps from his heavily modified GM, Chevy Impala, NASCAR or something. I mean, you got all the logos right here, and then for some reason you got like this verify me code thing here. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, okay, I don't know why you need that, but whatever. You do have his backdrop, which is the Battle of Chicago, similar to what we got before. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. This was one that I was kind of on the fence about because that original Dark of the Moon Deluxe Topspin is a pretty damn good toy. But hey, let's give him a fair shot, and let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Topspin opened up and out of his packaging. And this is one that a lot of people are on two different sides with. They're either on the side that says that this is the best version of Topspin, or the other side is that this is the best version of Topspin. Now, I do want to add the little caveat that this does have the Repro Label stickers, which does add a lot of extra detail. But honestly, I don't really see that much extra detail. I mean, like, yeah, a lot of these sponsor logos and everything are added on this. This really doesn't have that anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. The biggest difference, I would say, would be the darker color of these little exposed bits, which does look nicer, I think, than the nice clean silver on the original. It gives it a much dirtier and pretty much cool look, but you can see that it is a very similar design. Yes, this is a little bit better of a detail, but is it a better figure? That's what ultimately it breaks down to. You look at the front here, both say Impala. I do like the silver grill that's on this. Again, is that a sticker? That might be a sticker too. Honestly, I don't remember what all are stickers on this thing, but that darker sort of element really is a nice touch. Now, where it kind of gets a little bit ruined are these weapons. As you can see, they're in this gray plastic, whereas this has that darker element to it, which is nice. The thing that I don't like about these is these are like completely rubbery, so you can see that they bend all over the place. You can see this one kind of like droops down and everything. I'm really not a big fan of these. Mold wise, they do look more accurate to the giant guns that Topspin had in the actual film. That is nice. These also have that similar look, but these are also completely rubbery. These, though, have a similar sort of look, but they're hard plastic, so I think that that is a better option to go with. When you take a look at the back, though, this is where I see things being vastly different. This, from like here down, is a far more accurate representation of Topspin. You do have the darker elements as well, whereas you can see with this, there's really not a lot of weaponized sort of look. I mean, yeah, you got the spoiler that's a little bit angled, but the windows are here, which really shouldn't be there. I don't think he had rear windows. I think it was more along the line like this. But again, I mean, these are all, well, no, those were stickers. Those were actually, or those weren't stickers. Those were actually painted in details. So, I mean, that had a little bit more of an accurate look, whereas this one doesn't have any of that. It does have 48 on the top, although this is much bigger. Again, that is a sticker. I feel like that should be a lot bigger looking. A lot of the details that I'm picking up on this that I really like, as I said, are stickers. Full disclosure. But looking at the mold, I still think it is a better overall representation, I think. The worst part would probably be the back section. But from here, well, I mean, I shouldn't say it's better. I mean, yeah, one's not worse than the other. I don't like the weapons on this. I do like the back on that. But for the most part, there isn't a ton that's really standing out for me, other than the back section. So yeah, I do got to give it to this in terms of an overall vehicle mode sort of accuracy. I wonder if these fit on here. Do a little part swapping. Oh, that fits on there, so you can do that. Sticks out a little bit further. People might not like that, but I don't really like the rubbery plastic on this. And as you can see, you can remove them as well, but I just don't like the rubber. These cannot be removed. That's permanently attached to it, so that's really unfortunate. But come around to the bottom, you can see, obviously, all the robot stuff, at least with the original one, kind of hides it a little bit better. So, I don't know. Like I said, vehicle mode-wise, I don't think that one shines more than the other than the back section here. So, if I were to scale these, I would give this like a 9 in terms of the vehicle mode. Well, no, let's give it an 8 because the weapons kind of suck. This one, I would give an 8 also because I think the weapons are better. So, I don't know. Just personal preference, I guess. For some comparisons, here is the other Studio Series record. Now, this one was far better. This is Roadbuster. We never got a weaponized version of Roadbuster in the original Dark of the Moon line. So that's why this one, in my opinion, is far superior. And the toy just in general is a much better one. Now, I haven't gotten the Leadfoot yet, but here is the Dark of the Moon Leadfoot. Again, I do have the Takara version with the Repro label stickers to help bring out a lot of those extra details. So, again, the only one that I was really super wanting to get was going to be Roadbuster. These two, I was always like, you know what? I really think that just based on the pictures, the originals are better. Scale-wise, they all work pretty decently. He sticks up a little bit more because he's on the gun. So, that works pretty good. But even still, not much of a difference. Vehicle mode wise, they all scale pretty well together. It's the robot mode, though, I think that I'm really unimpressed with this guy. So you can remove these if you want to for the transformation. I'm going to go ahead and take them off just to kind of illustrate that for you. Come around here to the side. You can see right here the little blue piece. That is part of the main body. That tabs this section in, so you kind of have to pull that away. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you also do have his claw weapons that store underneath here. Remove those as well. So throw it to the side. And this, you're just going to pull away from that. It gets in there really good because that is a fairly long post. So just bring that out, and then you can hinge these up just like so. Come around here to this side. You can then split these legs. And this part's a little bit precarious. You want to split it and then kind of bend this piece out. I don't like how this tabs in. I mean, that is really, you kind of have to do one of these numbers to get the little hook piece around there. So you got that. Bring these legs forward like so. We're going to take come around to the back. Take this section. You're going to angle this back and then bring this in. And then you have a little gap right there that heel section is going to plug into. So it'll sit right there. And then take the tire, rotate that to the inside of his leg. Straighten that out a little bit better. Do that on this side as well. Separate that. Bring this down. Tuck that little heel into the back of the car section. Rotate this around like so. These arms here, you can then separate this. This is on a double hinge. Bring this up, and then on the inside here, hopefully you can see this, you have a little slot that a little tab is going to lock into. So bring that in, push that there. So do that on this side as well. Double hinge, fold that in, bring that down. This one doesn't seem to like frictioning in all that well, so it just kind of hangs out there. Come around here to the back. You can take this, fold this piece back, and then take these arms, and you're going to swivel those out and away. Pull them out and away. Now, this piece right here is on a separate section. If you can bring this around, hopefully I'll have to zoom in. You can see that there's a... Now, these are soft rubber as well, but you can see here in the back, when you have it like that, you have a little gap right there. When you put it up, you close that gap. You need to have that down like that so that you can take this, hinge this all the way down, and this is going to go in between his back shoulder blades and underneath his head or neck joint. So just kind of fit that in there and give that a good push till it's all the way in there. And then that essentially locks this into place, which I don't like. I wish I could bring that a little bit more forward just for some dynamic look. Take this section and rotate this around. Now this is weird as well. When you look in the underside here, you got this little hinge. There's actually a pin that goes through it, but you can't bend this. That's completely locked into place. So I have literally no idea why any of this stuff is there. That's fairly stupid, but we're just going to rotate it and put it right there. It just kind of soft tabs into place. Bring these legs down. Then these arms tab into the back, so you can swivel these around. And then you get a double joint right here that you have to shift forward. And it kind of sits there. It doesn't really lock beautifully into place, but it just sits there. And then fold out his hands. Yeah, see, it kind of shifts every now and then. So do that on this side as well. Fold this piece back. Shift it forward. Fold out his little hands. There we go. Like that. Now, these shoulder pieces, you can do a couple different things. Depending on how you want to display him, he had a weaponized mode. I mean, he was always weaponized, but there were some times that he had these little pieces that would come down, and obviously you would have these guns attached. Honestly, they were rotated around that way. So you could do that as well here. I don't think it really looks all that bad, honestly. It's a very common look for him. But what they tell you to do is that, pull that off, rotate this around. There's a little tab right here that you can shift this up, and it will lock into the side of his arm right there, and that dislodged there. So, again, you're going to rotate that around, and then that's going to lock in. Oh, sorry, I had that the wrong way. And that's going to lock into his bicep. So there's that. I'm going to rotate these around. And honestly, you know, a lot of people really do like this guy, and I'm trying my hardest to like him, and honestly, I just don't. Vehicle mode wise, I feel is just as good as the old one. Robot mode, though, I feel is dramatically less impressive. Now, like I showed you, you can tab these in like this, and that can be one configuration, but we did see him in the film with these kind of flared out to the side like so, and they were basically guns. This is like his weaponized sort of look, and yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want with it, but it's all a matter of personal preference. But the weapons, though, I'm just really not that big of a fan of. As you can see, you got those big giant guns right up here, which sculpt-wise, they look great. The color, I don't like. I don't like the material they're made out of. Maybe it's just because it's a separate piece and it's fairly long that they have to make it rubbery. That might be something. But these here are his little pincher weapons. These are also rubber. I don't know why these needed to be rubbery material. I feel like you could have done a solid plastic on that and then painted it to look more like an extension of his arm, as they really were. And then these bits up here are also rubbery, and I like the way that they look. I think that he needs to have these. I just don't like the fact that they're rubbery. That one thing that also really bugs me is he always feels like his head, like, I got it as far as down as I can. The way that his body is, I don't know how well, you can kind of see here. The way that his body is, it always kind of looks like he's looking up, which doesn't, I don't like that. I feel like his head just angles back too much. That's not really fun, like he's perpetually looking up at people. I do like the metallic blue paint for the eyes. The head is pretty decent. Good sculpt work and everything on there. The chest looks pretty good. I do really like the blue color on him. That looks really nice. I'll pull out the original one and let you see a comparison here in a second, but I just I'm not a massive fan of this guy. Now, for the comparisons, let's start doing that. Here he is. Here we have him with Roadbuster, who is the only other Studio Series record that I have. And I think that the scale here is okay-ish. I mean, they're obviously the same height here, but I feel like he was a little bit taller of a character, which again makes me like the other one a little bit more, and you'll see that here in a bit. And then proportionally, when I look at the CGI, he looks like he's considerably more leg than torso. This is a more equal sort of thing, and I'm not a huge fan of that. And then also bringing in, now again, this is not the Studio Series version. This is the Deluxe Dark of the Moon Leadfoot that I have from way back in the day. Obviously, the scale here still works, I think. I do really like the way that all of these weaponized figures look. Well, except for that, fix that. The biggest thing that I honestly would say is that so far, the majority of Studio Series figures have been able to replace previous versions that I've had in my collection. Roadbuster obviously did, because we never got a weaponized version of Roadbuster in the original Dark of the Moon line. I haven't gotten my hands on Leadfoot yet to know whether or not that's going to be the case, but this is the original Dark of the Moon TOPSPIN. And this is kind of what I was talking about. Like, I think that the size here works a little bit better. He's tall, which I feel like his character was a fairly tall character. A lot of leg, little torso. That's what he has that he really doesn't. And, I mean, taking a look at the details on him, yeah, the paint could have been bumped up a lot. Like, all this lighter gray and everything could have been done with this darker gray or black. That would have looked really very good on him. He still has these little bits right here. This is attached to his back, but you can still angle those forward, much like the new guy, so you can still create that weaponized look. That it doesn't bother me how these configure. I mean, he has them on his arms, he has them on his back. I think that's a little bit more accurate, but I think that you can do it as easily here. I do like the arms on here. You can see that he's got the little pincher things built in, which works for the character, whereas his are removable. I don't know how that really works out, but I think that this incorporates a little bit better. You can see he's got the fists on the inside as well. The detail wise, yeah, this one definitely has a lot more sculpted in detail kind of throughout the entire thing, but a lot of this is all like, well, I mean, like when you look at the chest, obviously there's a lot more detail. This has some nice sculpt work as well, but this is far superior. I will definitely give it that. But when you look at the legs, when you go to the CGI, his thighs were created with the front sections of his car, which this does a nice job of it. All this stuff right here actually kind of is visible on him. There's no like fake parts really for the most part there. This, it's all kind of like hidden here in the back, but all this is just there. Like all this detail really isn't anything. I mean, I like how the tire rotates and everything, but I mean, you still got the tire on the inside there. So, I mean, I think that he's a better figure. I really, really do. I'm trying to like this guy. I really, really am. And yeah, the paint detail is better on here, but that's really all I think is better on the guy. When I take a look at the scales here, I also think that this works a little bit better because, like I said, I feel like he was a little bit taller and lanky of a character, and I think that this is okay. I mean, he kind of fits in the same size, obviously, but I feel like he should be bigger, and I mean, definitely the head doesn't sit down like this one does. The sculpt on here is much better. I wonder if I can swap that and still transform it. But personally, like I said, I just think that the old one is the better figure. Now, your opinion will vary. You don't have to have the same opinion as me, but really that's about it. And then again, I do have the repro label stickers on here, so it does pull out some extra details like in the chest area and things like that. Sorry if you guys were hoping that I was going to say that this is a superior figure. I disagree. Now, for his articulation, the head here is on a ball joint, but like I said, even when it's down, it just looks like his chest. I don't like how that is. It's on a ball joint, so you can rotate that all the way around. The shoulders here, which do kind of stick out fairly far from the body, those are on ball joints, so you can hinge that however you want. These being up here on the arm, regardless of how you kind of position them, with that being on a hinge and a ball joint and stuff down there, really doesn't limit any of the articulation, which is nice. He does rotate at the upper part of the bicep. He does have that stupid double thing for the elbow. At least the back one doesn't detach like Roadbusters did, so you can move that up and then rotate that and do that on both sides here without that secondary hinge dislodging. So that is kind of nice. He doesn't have waist articulation. The original one did. It was limited, but at least it was there. He does have ball jointed hips. They are a little bit loose. I can tighten that fairly easily. So forward and back, in and out. Rotation at the upper part of the thigh. He bends at the knee, and nothing really at the ankle, although you can move it forward and back a little, just kind of as part of the transformation. The original one, just again to kind of illustrate that, you could rotate him a little bit there, and then he at least had ball joints down here for the ankles. So again, better overall look in my opinion, and better overall articulation. Just for me, a better figure. Now, the transformation back is, again, fairly simple. You do need to remove these from his arms. You can't really transform them with those still attached, because that's going to be in a different spot. So remove those. Those you can leave on there. I'll leave them on here for this, just to kind of illustrate that. Kind of straighten everything out. Take his hands. You're going to rotate those around and tuck those in like so. Come down here to the feet. Take the inner wheel. That sucked. All right, so rotate that around and then fold the foot up. Then you can bring the back section, or really the front section of the car down. So again, do that on this side. So rotate the tire from the inside to the outside. Take the foot, tuck that down, and then bring that section down like that. You don't really need to connect it right now. You can if you want to, but it's, whatever you want to do. Come around here to the back. Let's rotate that around and then pull this piece out. It gets in there really tight. So kind of pull these arms out to the side and then kind of force that out just like that. Then get these kind of out of the way. You got a little tab right here that's going to rotate up and lock in to the back of his upper back arm piece. So again, do that on this side as well. That will lock into place. And then all this, then fold this piece up, get that out of the way, and then fold these up along the back. And then make sure that these are collapsed all the way in. Then you can take this whole section, you can hinge this back and collapse all this down. There we are. All right. And now that one fell out. Whatever. It is what it is. Now you can bring these together. This part, like I said, is a little bit tricky to do. You got the little hook pieces right here that go underneath, but you kind of have to go on an angle and then loop them over. So again, do that, kind of twist it and then bring it over. But I feel like there's a lot of force when you're not so much going into this mode, but when you're taking it out, I don't really like that. Then you're going to want to straighten these out on that double hinge, lay that flat, and then hinge this up. And then this is going to slot in along the side here. Just give that a good squeeze, locking that little post in. Do that on this side as well. I had these completely the wrong way. There we go. Fold that down. That kind of locks into place. And then hinge this up. And again, just put it along the side. And get that out of the way. Give that a good squeeze right there. Locking that in. Put these back on there where they're supposed to be. And then these, you're going to want to bring them underneath here. And you got little holes right on the side. Just kind of put it in there. And give that a good push, locking that in along the bottom side, and that kind of fills in this little gap. You can kind of see like there's a little gap right there. It's not a big gap, but this right here, when you put it in, fills that gap in. But when you're done, there you have Topspin back in his vehicle mode. Overall, he's not a bad figure. The biggest thing that I have going against him really is comparing him to the previous one. I don't think it's as good. Vehicle mode wise, I feel is on par with what we got before. Yes, the back section is better, but the weapons I don't think are. Whereas the original one, I think that the weapons are better, and the back section is a little bit weak. Specifically, like I was showing, there shouldn't be a windshield like what we have here. The rest, I mean, like all this along the side and everything, that's not bad. That's definitely a lot more accurate. I also like the coloring on this a lot better. The darker color really does stand out and give a more dirty, grungy kind of look. Transformation's fine on him. There's a lot of similar elements between this and Roadbuster, and it's a fine transformation. It doesn't wow me or anything, but the robot mode is where I really do get let down. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I feel he's too stubby looking. As I mentioned, when I go back and look at that CGI, Topspin was like mostly all legs. He seems like a very long and lanky character. And I feel that the original Dark of the Moon figure does a better job of capturing that. The darker coloring on this guy does translate to a nicer look in robot mode as well. But then you add in the little claw weapons and the color of that kind of detracts from the look. I also like how in the original one, those claws were articulated and seem to be better incorporated to his body because they're actually part of his arms. Ultimately, I don't think that this is a bad figure, and if you don't have that original one, I think you'll be okay with them. The Wreckers are fun. Wish we got more of them in the movie, but what we did get was pretty badass. But if you do have that original one, but me who still has that original one, I just don't feel like this is good enough to replace that other one. Which honestly has been the case with the vast majority of Studio Series figures. So it is a bit of a letdown for me. So for me, ultimately, I guess it depends on if you have that previous version. As I said, there seems to be two sides of this. People who think that this is better than the original and people that don't. I'm in the category that I don't think it's better. But if you do, and you want to add this guy to your collection, he is hitting various retail locations right now. So if you are looking for him, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can do the real easy thing and just get them online at places like Big Bad Toy Store. For that, I'll put a link right down in the video description where you can go to BBTS and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would do one thing for me. And that's simply just to hit that thumbs up button. That one very small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really very much appreciate it. Also, I want to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons who, through their continued support, now more than ever help to make reviews like this possible. And if you'd like information on how you can help support my channel by becoming a patron, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/Optibotimus. A contribution of as little as $1 a month really can go a long way towards helping me out. And finally, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.